Hello, I'm Alex Hare, and I welcome you to Australian Archives, a program of musical items featuring Australian artists of note and taken from the archives. And let's begin this edition of Australian Archives with Heather Horwood. Remember Heather? From a 1959 ABC television program Two's Company. Heather's singing this one, You Make Me Feel So Young.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel those spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy indebted. The moment that you speak, I want to go play hide and seek. I want to go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across the meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel the spring has sprung, bells to be rung, and a wonderful song to be sung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm going to feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so young. You and I are just like a couple of tots running across the meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. 'Cause you make me feel so young. You make me feel though spring has sprung, bells to be rung, and a wonderful song to be sung. And even when I'm old and gray, I'm going to feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so young, 'cause you make me feel so young.
In the lobby of a big hotel in the New York town one day sat a bunch of fellows telling yarns to pass the time away. They told of places where they'd been and the different sights they'd seen. Some of them praised Chicago town and others New Orleans. In the corner, in an old armchair, sat a man whose hair was gray. He listened to them eagerly, to what they had to say. They asked him where he'd like to be, his clear old voice did ring. Boy, I'd like to be in Texas for the roundup in the spring. Oh, I see the cattle grazing on the hills at early morn. See the campfire smoking at the breaking of the dawn. Hear the broncos neighing, I hear the cowboys sing. Oh, I'd like to be in Texas when they round up in the spring. I I'd like to sleep my last long sleep with Mother Earth for bed, my saddle for a pillow, the bright stars overhead. There I would hear the last stampede and the songs the rivers sing, way back down in Texas when they round up in the spring. I see the cattle grazing on the hills at early morn. See the campfire smoking at the breaking of the dawn. Hear the broncos neighing and I hear the cowboys sing. way back down in Texas when they round up in the spring. Oh,
Tex Morton, and we heard Texas in the Spring. Tex Morton was born in New Zealand in 1916, his real name Robert Lane. He came to Australia in 1932 in a party of entertainers which included the famous Jack Davey. And he recorded that particular tune for Regal Zonophone in Sydney on the 25th of February 1936. And we opened our program with a 1959 recording of Heather Horwood, You Make Me Feel So Young. Our next recording was made actually in New Zealand, but it featured a group of Australian artists who were on tour over there. It's a private acetate. The quality is not the best. However, it is Australian archives and it really fits into the program. The particular piece, September in the Rain, features Bernie Duggan on piano, and he also arranged it. George Dobson is on trumpet, Dutchie Turner on trombone, and of course there are others. Bob Parrish is the vocalist on this one from New Zealand, recorded in Auckland in 1937, September in the Rain.
Went out just like a dying ember.
Paddy Fitzallen and his Celebrity All-Stars there, recorded in 1952 at the Melbourne Town Hall during the Rhythm Festival. And they were recorded for the old Spotlight 10-inch LP label. Remember those? Before that it was Bob Parish with Theo Walters' Personality Orchestra. And as I said before, not a good quality acetate, but it's probably the only one in existence of that performance, and we thought we would include it because it had such great Australian people in it. Now let's move on to a former star of the JCW circuit. Of course, JCW, big name in musicals. Sidney Birchall was one of their big stars back in the 30s, and he did some recording. This one made in Sydney in March of 1936. Sidney Birchall gives us In a Little Gypsy Tea Room.
I was seeking shelter from the weather. It was on a rainy April day. You remember how we got together in a shop across the way. After being caught with no umbrella, I stopped in to have a cup of tea. Just the fun I told the fortune teller was a lucky day for me. It was in a little gypsy tea room when I was feeling blue. It was in a little gypsy tea room I first laid eyes on you. When the gypsy came to read the tea leaves, it made me feel quite gay. When she said that someone in the tea room would steal my heart away, I really thought it inconceivable, but just imagine my surprise. You made the story quite believable, right there in front of my eyes. With a smile that's sweeter than the roses, you made a dream come true. It was in a little gypsy tea room I gave my heart to you. But just imagine my surprise. You made the story quite believable, right there in front of my eyes. With a smile that's sweeter than the roses, you made a dream come true. It was in the little gypsy tea room I gave my heart to you.
Don't let the moonlight get you. Don't
Don't Let Your Love Go Wrong. The vocalist was Beryl White, her husband Charles on piano, and they were accompanied by Jack Westmore on guitar, Les Tasker on vibraphone, Don Moore on bass, John Arnell on drums. That was recorded in the late 1950s right here in Melbourne. And before that, it was the J.C. Williamson star Sidney Birchall from 1936, and he gave us In a Little Gypsy Tea Room. Now, the next song's rather an interesting one. It's accredited to Brian Lawrence, sounds very much like Brian, but it's not in any of the discographies, but it relates to a ship called Canimbla, and we play it in Australian archives.
A valley in the mountains, southern mountains of misty blue, where life is fine and the people's hearts are always true. When they called you Canimbla, they were seeking to bring you fame. From the valley, the lovely valley, where they found your name. Canimbla, my ship Canimbla, sailing to southern seas. The Southern Cross will light you. There's a serenade in the breeze. With your cargo of best good wishes, of happiness, good fortune, and of fame, sail on, my ship Canimbla, and prove you're worthy of your name. With your cargo of best good wishes, of happiness, good fortune, and fame, sail on, my ship Canimbla, and prove you're worthy of your name.
And that was legendary Leggett's performer Arthur Pike. They're working with the Doug Holbury Big Band in the early 1970s, coming a little bit forward to where we normally do. But that very nice private recording of the Steve Allen composition, This Could Be the Start of Something Big. And of course, Arthur Pike was with Jim Davidson's AIF band during the war. Hope you enjoyed that. And we had before that My Ship Knimbler with Brian Lawrence. And let's close this edition of Australian Archives with Billy Weston's big band from the 1950s, the mid-1950s. Edwin Duff is the vocalist on this track, Falling in Love with Love.
Falling in love with love is falling for make-believe. Falling in love with love is playing the fool. Caring too much is such a juvenile fancy. Learning to trust is just for children in school. I fell in love with love one night when the moon was full. I was unwise with eyes unable to see. I fell in love with love everlasting. But love fell out with me. Falling in love with love is falling for make-believe. Falling in love with love is playing the fool. And caring too much is such a juvenile fancy. Learning to trust is just for children in school. I fell in love with love one night when the moon was full. I was unwise with eyes unable to see. Yes, I fell in love with love everlasting. But love fell out. Yes, love got up and walked out. Yes, love fell out with me.
Falling in Love with Love. Edwin Duff, Billy Weston's big band. Australian Archives was conceived, prepared and produced by Alex Hare for Golden Days Radio. Thanks for listening and bye for now.